right, hello. It's time for us to look at what the papers are saying this morning. We begin with the Punch newspaper. Some interesting stories making the round. It's no longer news that over the weekend, some residents of the Federal Capital Territory did loot the Nema warehouse where a lot of goods were carted away. And the big story from the Punch newspaper, one of them headlines saying tight security at Nema stores as hoodlums loot warehouses is one of the stories we're looking at. We've got a NIM-SIM linkage, blocked lines rise to 40 million. One of the headlines. We've got Senate summons CBN officials over 30 trillion naira loans. Then we've got reps as headline to refund 4 billion naira COVID-19 funds. My guest on today's section of a paper review is not a person, but the former Director of News, Voice of Nigeria, in the person of Ahazia Suleiman, is joining us live in the studios. Always a pleasure to have you in the studio, sir.
Thank you, Anthony, and you're welcome.
All right, let's just look at what the Punch is saying. Before we get into the point, we're talking before we came on air as regards the federal government, specifically the president's, agreement, the treaty he entered while on the visit to Qatar. For that much anticipated visit that I had to do with, at a point we talked about Qatar backtracking on hosting the investment forum. For you, how would you assess the
You see, last Monday when we reviewed the papers, this story backing out or not backing in, and the trip actually took place, and there were so many far-fetched bilateral agreements that were reached between Nigeria and Qatar, education, energy, and so many other things that will help grow the economy. And the Nigerian business community also had a meeting with the Qataris business community on how to come and invest in our country and looking at areas of collaborations between Nigeria and Qatar. So the visit has been a successful one. Of course, we know that it was on the invitation of the Qatari government that our president visited them. And now, at the end of everything, President Bola Tinubu has invited the Qatari business community to also come and look at areas that they will invest in or collaborate with their Nigerian counterparts, the Nigerian business community, particularly the Chamber of Commerce in Nigeria, collaborating with them, looking at areas of comparative advantage in Nigeria and areas of their own. The president specifically spoke about the energy in our youths in this country, being able to assist any investor to do anything. And I drive that from the Chinese government. Why do you think that Chinese, all over the world, people go to China to manufacture their things and come and take to their respective countries? It's because of the population and the cheap labor. Nigeria has a very energetic youth who are daring to go. All you need to do is empower them, drive them, give them all the incentives, and believe you me, they will be there. So if the country's government will come or the business community will come and invest there, they will have a very cheap labor, as it were, and our youth will have something to do. Then it will take them off the street, take all these issues of insecurity and other things that are as a result of lack of job opportunities that people, young men are indulging in unnecessary things. So I think the visit has been a successful one, and such visits are the ones we need in this country. And so let them come. We'll be here.
But in terms of the job opportunity that's going to avail to Nigerians, are you concerned as regards the even distribution of these opportunities to Nigerians in the 6 geopolitical zones, or we're going to have government officials, hijack this opportunity to their own...
Anthony, let me just cut you short there. It depends on what kind of investment they want to come and do. The big men and their children will not lack their words or whatever to go and do those rough jobs. And for instance, if they are coming... Hold on. Yeah. If they will come and invest in agriculture, for instance, Is it the big man's job that will, son that will go and be farming?
No, I'm talking about they taking
the
their jobs now to their own
localities.
Now,
Well,
as a way of saying, okay, this is what we are bringing to our people, rather than spread it across the.
You see, in economics and industrialization,
yes.
you look at where the raw materials are to locate whatever industry you want to locate. For instance, if you're bringing in a mining company to mine gold or whatever, you can't just take it, for instance, to let's say to Bayelsa State simply because you are from Bayelsa. But you can take it to parts of Ondo, part of Zamfara, part of Niger, part of Kaduna, where you have gold deposit to locate the industry there. So issue of politics, yes, they may try to manipulate and manage to be in the top echelon of the management of those companies, but the localization of industries, basically one of the basic things is the availability of the raw materials that will drive that kind of industry. So I don't think politicians will hijack based on that. They may hijack it to own it. I give you an example. There was a year, I was in Lagos then, a Nigerian brought in some Thai people to come and cultivate rice in the country. And they looked at it, when they studied the sun, they found out that it is only Kenya and Nigeria that had that kind of soil that will grow that kind of rice. And they came and they went to some states. And you know, what discouraged them was that they needed the support of the state government to give them land where they could cultivate the rice. But each state government wanted to be part of that without investing a dime, and wanted to be part of that company. And the guy said, no, we can't do that. So they went to Kenya 6 months after they started exporting rice from Kenya. A Thai people, a Thai company that came and wanted to invest. By now, all these things that we are suffering or saying lack of food, maybe it would have been a thing of the past. Certainly, so those kind of things should not happen. Real business, you have to bring something on the table. You have to contribute. Even if it's 1% share you are buying into the company, you must contribute. And so by so doing, and now one thing that is happening within the country that I have seen commonly is that people are now getting to buy, to obtain license, mining license across the country, so that there's no part of this country that does not have mineral resources that could be tapped. And so if you are coming to invest, if the communities now will put the monies together and obtain the license for mining. So anybody wanting to come and invest or mine in their country, in their community, they have to be part of it, and they will have shares within. So those fears you are expressing, I don't think, because common economists tells us is where the raw material is that the industry will be located.
All right, let's move on to the papers now. We're starting with the Guardian newspaper. Let's look at, we've got the story from the Guardian. It says terror attacks decline amid a new recruitment rise in violent conflict. Terror attacks decline amid a new recruitment rise in violent conflict is what we see on the Guardian newspaper this morning. We've got hardship is a rider there. Military, paramilitary to distribute food as hoodlums loot warehouses. Blame governors for restructuring delay, economic downturn is the big story there. And banditry is a kicker there. Police place 50 million naira bounty on 2 kingpins in casino. And another headline story, experts blame social media for mass failure in WAEC and others. Then telecos may lose 83 billion naira monthly over disconnected telephone lines. We've got states should account for money they receive. Is another headline story there. And we've got teachers endless wait for federal government promises to improved salary and welfare. That's the big story there. Let's begin from where we almost stopped, talking about hardship, military, paramilitary, to distribute food as hoodlums and loot warehouses. Are they the right agencies to distribute food? We're not in a war zone where you say they are the only ones available. Shouldn't this civil society, the humanitarian, ministry, healthcare workers, or social workers be the ones to get this job done?
Anthony, you know, there are agencies that are supposed to be doing this kind of distribution of food items, but when they see there is a kind of injustice within the society, the people now take the laws into their hands. But I completely disagree and condemn in totality the breaking of the warehouse in Dei suburb of the Federal Capital Territory, and where soldiers that are supposed to be watching over the territorial boundaries of this country being drafted into a domestic thing, or a civil domestic thing. Where are the civil defense? Where do we have the police? So those are supposed to be there, but when the things are getting out of hand, maybe sometimes Nigerians, it's only when they see the army uniform that they begin to fear. But be that as it may, sincerely speaking, those who vandalized those warehouses in Abuja, I don't think they are hungry people. These are greedy touts. These are greedy bandits.
Do you think there's an insider?
Of course there must be. You see, during the NSAS crisis, let me tell you, near where I live, there was this warehouse where they kept these tricycles and some campaign materials of one politician. The security man there was the first to lead the people that he took the tricycle that he wanted to take. Some security personnel also came, took it. Then the people started rushing that place. Everybody was taking. After they have vandalized the whole thing, now the security, the policemen now came and cordoned off just the road to my estate. They cordoned off that place. We were so scared that if they finish with that warehouse, they might even venture into coming into our estate. But God helped us when they finished vandalizing all those things that were stored there, and they left. The police now took over, and up to this day, nobody recovered those tricycles. And so you can see there is always an insider story. How would they have known that certain food items were kept in a particular place? Those who vandalized a truck moving food stuff from the north to the south in Niger State, those I will say they are genuine hungry people. But for people where it is well secured for a purpose, maybe they want to take it to displaced persons' homes or camps, then you are coming to break a wall, remove the roof. Haba.
All right, let's move on. We've got banditry. Police place 50 million naira bounty on 2 kingpins in Katsina. Is this another way of supporting banditry? Because government says we do not pay bandits, but when you put 50 million naira bounty, and we saw the Minister of the FCT put 20 million bounty on a notorious kidnapper, and within a week he was found. Do you think this is another subtle way people are beginning to, the government and its officials are beginning to, technically fund banditry?
You see, over the weekend, the National Institute of Policy and Strategic Study had their annual lecture at Kuru. They had their annual lecture at the Army Resource Center in Abuja. And one of the things that they discussed was this insecurity. And I listened attentively to the DG and the spokesperson for the Alumni Association, General Kukasheka. And when he said some things, I really reasoned that he said, there is nothing that will happen if you don't involve the people. All these bandits, they have the informats within the society that give them tips on where to go and how to go about it. And so when you place these bounties on certain persons like that, you know what they do? Okay, let's collect this money. And, easily they could do that. That is not the way to go. Sincerely speaking, they will go all out and onslaught on these people without having any mercy on any one of them. Yes, there must be casualties. Yes, those people, we should be ready to sacrifice certain lives for the society to be secured. But when you begin to do this, it is a softer way of feeding some other people with some money. You are putting plenty money like that. If it is my friend, and he knows there is no way he can escape. Why not? I will expose him and let them go and catch him. I will have my money. Because they have informants within the society, and these are the guys that tip them and tell them, and they are on their payroll. Because whatever they collect, go and get. In fact, there was one bandit that was arrested along Jos Abuja Road, Kefi Road, and he said they were working for some people. And when they asked this young man, he said, how much did they pay him? They said the highest that they've ever given him was 50,000. Whatever money they collect from the people, ransom that they collect from the people, they have to take it to their masters, who sometimes they are in the city, and they're monitoring you and I, whatever we are saying, whatever we are doing. And so when they bring this money, they pay you as a salary. And this guy, I looked at him. One day I was coming from Jos, coming to Abuja. The cab I was in, when he saw some, we saw some people, they were attacking, using sticks to attack somebody. I said, what is happening? Stop. He said, no. That guy that they're beating is the informer that he comes on the road. When he sees flashy cars coming, he will now inform the people. And so the people that they attacked the previous time were the ones that were now attacking him. So we had to use the cab that I was in to go and call him police enforcement, to call in the policemen so that they will arrest him, not for people to take jungle justice and kill the man along the road. So you can see they have informants that they are paying. And so putting bounties on people like this, we use that money to equip the military, encourage them, motivate them with it, and see what will happen.
All right, well said, but very sad commentary coming out there. Let's look at this day newspaper. We've got some headline stories. One of them says IOC's indigenous producers seek expeditious resolution of all oil asset divestment deals. Then we've got at executive session with Emir of Qatar, Tinubu woos foreign investors, says Nigeria ready for business. And CBN is the kicker there. Oversubscription of open market bills show of confidence in economy. Let's quickly look at the executive session. Tinubu tells investors Nigeria is ready.
Yeah.
Is he being...
I think he's being realistic, and that was the first story we discussed. Yes, of course, you remember, it was on the Point, and other papers also featured that visit to Qatar. And so Nigeria is ready.
But is the situation business friendly?
Yes, that's the question we should ask ourselves. Power issue, the power issue is a serious discouragement to
because
any
we saw the Minister
investors.
of Power, Adelabu, invite the Abuja electricity.
Yeah, because power, you know, how much are we buying diesel today? Over 1,000 naira per liter. And you are going to invite investors. Yes. Will they be using the diesel generators to power their industries? If the power is stable, these investors will willingly come and invest within the country. But where the power is epileptic, I don't think any investor... Why do we have major conglomerates migrating and moving out of Nigeria to Ghana? Last week, Monday, we discussed the issue of, we talked about the pharmaceutical companies, major pharmaceutical companies moving out of Nigeria today and going out of the country, and that is why the cost of drugs or medication has gone so astronomically higher than ever expected. And you see, so if you make the environment friendly, first things first, power must be stable, then they will come in. The terms of manpower,
security,
power, security, these are the two major things. But if manpower, you need the personnel, the people that will help you manage, that one will be available. And so first things first, fix the power, fix security, and people will be fighting over to come and invest in Nigeria.
All right, CBN, issues of oversubscription of open market shows confidence, says the CBN. Do you agree with the CBN?
You know, Nigeria, this kind of economy in Nigeria, honestly speaking, each time I look at all this in buying and selling, it's not good business. We must manufacture. We must find a way of producing. Then once you produce and you say we are oversubscribing, then I will be happy, because today we are a consuming country and not and a manufacturer productive country. Yeah, so if we do that, and CBN is wagging its tail and saying, yes, we have done this, then I will be happy. But for now, no.
All right, Nigerian Tribune is next. Big stories. AFDB supports Nigeria with $134 million to cultivate rice, maize, cassava, and soya beans is the headline there. Construction materials price hike pushing contractors into financial distress. And customs approved 90-day payment window for improperly imported vehicles. Then that's some of the big stories we've got in there. More reactions to regulatory actions on BDCs. Okay, let's quickly look at AFDB, the African Development Bank. They seem to only support Nigeria because of additional who holds with 134 million naira to cultivate rice, beans, cassava. When Nigeria collects such huge amount of Nigeria, is Nigeria being sincere in terms of investing this money in agriculture, knowing fully well that farmers can get back to work?
You see, one of the headlines in one of the papers that I saw this morning, or I listened to on radio this morning, was talking about the Senate trying to investigate where 30 trillion loans collected by the previous administration, where was it invested? They collected that money and they didn't invest it into production or things or agriculture. Additional is somebody that said, when he was our agricultural minister, say agric is real business. You wear your suit, wear your tie and go to, because it's real business. And the way to go in Nigeria today is agriculture. And so if he is that committed and enthusiastic about getting Nigeria to get it right, today Nigeria should be exporting foodstuff out of this country. When during the military administration, when they introduced wheat production, the Chad Basin, the River Basin Development Authorities, they were all cultivating wheat, and bread, the cost of bread was down there. But suddenly the encouragement, the incentives were not there, they were removed, and farmers were left. You have to till the land, you get fertilizer, you pay for the harvesters, you pay for everything, and at the end of the day, what you produce, there was no market for it. And so they all withdrew. So if you are bringing in this and getting it ready, the Ukraine and Russian war should have served
an advantage
for Nigeria to export wheat, to supply, to fill in the gap where all those supplies that were coming from Ukraine were not. We have the land, very fertile land. So Adesina is one Nigerian that we are so proud of. He's representing us very, very well. And everything, his soul, heart, is in Nigeria, and that is why he wants to encourage Nigeria. We want the present administration to go beyond just announcing loans and not giving it to the right people. They should work out a modality where the real farmers would be the ones to benefit from these loans and incentives. When you group them in cooperative societies, believe you me, before you know, all these things will be there. I understand, like the youths in my village. My village is a community of farmers. Before now, children, young guys will, my uncle is in Lagos, my uncle is in Abuja, my uncle is in Gombe. But now they compete among themselves. How many bags of soybeans have you produced? How many bags of corn or Guinea corn sorghum have you produced? So if you don't, and you become a laughingstock among your youth, your peer group. And so that is the kind of healthy competition we need in the society, where everybody will be bragging, I have produced 50 bags of rice, 50 bags of beans, and so forth and so forth. Then hunger will disappear automatically. In areas where the security is not, they should curtail the security and allow these farmers. That is why we are having the problems we are having. We have arable land that you can cultivate all year round, dry season and rainy season, yet we don't use that.
Let's have a quick one in 1 minute. Only implementation of agreement will stop a nationwide strike, NLC insists. We're looking at the Vanguard now. Only the implementation of the agreement will stop the nationwide strike, says NLC, after 7 days of ultimatum to the federal government. Is the NLC, are they going to wear off, or is the federal government going to be committed to its agreement?
Federal government committed because it's not a one-day thing. And that is why President Tinubu was telling the NLC, I'm just 9 months old on the seat, and you cannot continually give me conditions, agreements you had. Yes, government is a continuum. However, there are different policies. Tinubu came on a different, same party, but different ideology or things that he intends, programs that he intends to achieve. And therefore, NLC, only implementation, some of those agreements have been there way back during Obasanjo's time. And so you don't expect somebody within 9 months to have, they should pick the major ones. Salary, purchasing power of civil servants has gone down completely. Yes, increase the salary immediately. Yes, provide vehicles. I read that Kobi Obana has supplied 100 vehicles for transport within Abuja. These are the incentives that we need in the country.
All right, thank you very much. I want to say a big thank you to the former Director of News of Voice of Nigeria, Ahazia Suleiman, who has been amazing this morning, helping us with his wealth of knowledge and dexterity to look at all the big stories that are making the rounds. Always a pleasure having you in the studios. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me, Anthony. My pleasure.
All right, we'll go for a very quick break. You're watching Africa's finest breakfast show, Global Morning on Global Television. We'll go for a quick break. When we return from the break, we'll be looking at a very interesting talking point, looking at the bill that seems to would exclude the people of the North West and the Southwest and also the South-South from producing a presidential candidate come 2027. That if the bill scales through. We'll be talking to hopefully the former Speaker of the Plateau State House of Assembly, Stephanus Mounsat. Hopefully he'll be joining us via Zoom. Stay with us.